I'm Baylee Abbott. I'm 15 years old, and what a buzz to be here, and thank you for listening to my story. So, as you may have heard, I was born a bit differently from most kids, like people that are here this weekend. I was born 15 years ago with missing fingers on my right hand, missing my toes on my right foot, and just past my ankle on my left foot. I also have a cleft pallet, which means I was born with a hole in the top of my palate. This is a condition known to us all now as Oro Mandibular Hypogenises syndrome. I have spent a lot of time going to see doctors, and I have had 8 operations so far. I would like to share with you some of the problems that I've had to face in life, and how I've started a campaign to help people to become more aware that sometimes it is better to ask someone if they are different rather than to point us there. I understand a lot of kids suffer more than me, but I still get upset when other kids point or stare. I've been going to Clatterbridge Limb Centre since I was 1, and they have been great, and I do know how lucky we are in this country to have the NHS, despite the bad rep that some people do give it. When I was 1, I was given leather prosthetics that allowed me to wear shoes, and each time I grew and my feet were moulded, the process would start of measuring my feet, making the check prosthetic, testing it by wearing it to see if it rubs or hurts, adjusting it to see if it does, wearing it again, and then feeding back to the limb centre before we get it right. It's a great team of effort, but we do get there in the end. As I got older, I was allowed to wear silicone prosthetics, which were a lot comfier, and they look like real feet, and even have nails so I can paint, and toenails and split toes so I can wear sandals. The problem is, though, that as my feet are an unusual shape, and the people who make them have never seen me or my feet before, so a lot of the time they're working off pictures and casts to get it right. I grow out of these feet just as quick as most kids grow out of their shoes. The whole process normally takes about 3 to 4 months from start to finish, and they don't start the process until my feet have outgrown my prosthetics and they're rubbing. When I was younger, I used to spend a lot of time going to see the doctors. I used to spend a lot of time on crutches because my prosthetics were too sore and the new ones were still being made. The reason I'm talking to you today is because I want to raise awareness about positivity, and how you should try to push yourself to be the best person you possibly can be. I want to help you to understand that nobody is the same, and we are all born to stand out individually. I want to help change people's mindsets about somebody they might call perfect, and I want them to learn that a perfect person doesn't exist. Let's face it, in life, we all complain about how we hate our bodies and how we're not happy with the way we look, but really you shouldn't want to change anything about yourself, because you need to think, I'm born the way I am, and you shouldn't want to change that. Because at the end of the day, we are all born differently, but most importantly, you were born to stand out individually. Some people go on complaining about all their personal imperfections and how they hate themselves, but really that isn't the way you should live your life, is it? You need to embrace yourself and be grateful that you are happy and healthy, and you have a great life ahead of you full of amazing possibilities. If you're more positive in life, then you'll start to see things as opportunities rather than barriers. And once you replace your negative thoughts in your mind with positive ones, then you'll start to see more positive outcomes. But before I talk to you a bit about my story, I want you to think of a question. Are you happy with yourself, with who you are, with the person you've become, and with the choices you've made? If yes, then carry on going, because you should be proud of yourself no matter what. If no, then you are never too late to change anything, and there is always time to fix your mistakes. So you may be thinking, well, why am I telling you this, and what's so special about me? Well, since I was 1, I've had to put up with adults and children pointing and staring at my differences when they are exposed. This mainly happens at swimming pools or on holiday, and deep down, this really affects me, but each time I overcome it and it makes me stronger. Now I'm older, this has taught me a lesson, that when I was younger, I should have been thankful for those experiences, because now it's helped me turn into a better person, and I've learned to accept that I'm born the way I am, and I shouldn't want to change that. So you should learn that whatever knocks you down, you should be thankful for, because everything that happens in life all happens for a reason, and it's part of an experience, and that is how you learn from the past. When I was born, the doctors said that I wouldn't be able to walk, run or dance. Well, I guess you could say they proved me wrong, because look at me now, I can do all of them and more. My whole life, my parents had brought me up as a normal child, and they'd not treated me any differently because of my differences. They've encouraged me to do more things instead of holding me back or being afraid to try something new. I must admit that it hasn't always been easy, and maybe there have been some things that I haven't always wanted to do. But this has helped me learn that you should never give up and always try to push yourself. I do have to admit that I have been through some tough times in my life, and I've had to face people looking at my differences and taking it as a joke. But what hurts me the most is when people see my hands or feet and they just go into complete stare mode and they don't realise they do it, but they will just point and stare at my hands or feet because they don't look normal. This used to really affect me, and I would get so upset about my differences and I always used to wish I was somebody else who had fingers or toes. I've now realised I shouldn't have compared myself to others, because nobody is perfect, and remember that you're born to stand out. So I wear prosthetics on both feet, and I have done since I was able to walk, and sometimes this has led to a few giggles. Like when I play football, if I kick the ball and use the wrong foot, my foot would fly off and the goalie would end up with a ball and a foot in their face. As I got a bit older, around the age of 9, I got fed up with people pointing and staring at me, so I decided to give a talk to my primary school about my differences. It went really well, and I was asked loads of questions which I prefer rather than people staring at me. Over the same summer of this talk, I went to the Reach AGM here in Bristol, and I was unaware that I'd been nominated for the Sue Stokes Award, which I won for my talk in front of my primary school. At the same conference, we heard about, and they called out my name as the winner, and I was in complete shock. At the same conference, we heard about Enabling the Future website, which helps users to 3D print and build themselves a 3D hand. Back then, this idea was relatively new, and it's amazing to see where technology has now gone, including the works of Open Bionics, the main sponsors of this weekend. We learnt how to 3D print, and we made our first 3D hand from scratch using the open source files from enablingthefuture.com. Following this, with the help of the local makerspace, Does Liverpool and Drew Murray, we set up an arts programme in the space called FACT in Liverpool, and we invited Reach users to come and learn how to make themselves a 3D hand. It was amazing to see kids of all ages come and make themselves a 3D hand, and they were eventually able to pick things up for the first time in their lives, and it was such an amazing thing to witness. The TV and radio soon pick up on this, and I remember waking up one morning with a knock at my front door, and it was the paparazzi asking me for pictures for the local newspaper. At the time, I was known as Bionic Baylee, and we made a website with a blog with information around the subject. It's a bit out of date now, but it may have some useful information for some people on here. There was also a documentary made about me called BBC Make It Digital that soon followed. I'll put a link up at the end with some of these websites. Through the publicity of this, I was then asked to speak at the TSA International Conference in front of around 500 healthcare professionals and politicians. And since then, I've done a load of motivational speeches at all different events. You see, it's times like this that really make me sit back and appreciate how grateful I am for who I am. Now I'd like to share with you something, and that is that for years I've avoided going on the Reach Raw weekend because I've had a fear of what it would be like. And I didn't know many people that were going, and I didn't think I would enjoy it. Well, this is now one of the biggest regrets of mine, because this year was my first year at Raw, and it was one of the best experiences I've done. I've met friends for life, and the best thing about it is that we are all in the same position, and we understand each other as we all have a difference. The whole week, I felt like I didn't need to hide my differences, and I was so comfortable with being around people that were just like me. So I'd like to say a massive thank you to Reach for putting on these amazing weeks. It's really boosted my confidence, and I would really recommend it to anyone who's never been before. Being different definitely has its advantages and disadvantages, and there have been some funny times I have had. For example, when I went on holiday once, I put my prosthetic feet on the side of the pool, and next minute they were gone and kids were using them as diving sticks. Also, I do have quite a few party tricks I can pull out the bag, like a trick I can do with my foot where I have my silicone feet on, and I can just start kicking the wall and not feel it as they're not my real toes. Anyone gets a bit freaked out when they see this. My favourite party trick though is when I can spin my left foot all the way around, so people get a big shock when they see this. So I guess you can definitely have fun with it. You see, this brings me back to my main point. We are all different and we do have to face different challenges in life, but it's about finding a way around them that matters, because everybody must remember that when you're having a bad day, I want you all to stop and think that there is always somebody out there who's in a worse situation than you. You need to think, is it really that bad? How can I find a way around this and try to think of something positive? I find that my positive note is that if I try to think of 3 things I'm grateful for every day, it really makes you realise that you should appreciate things and take whatever happens in your life as an experience you've managed to complete. All that matters is that you try your hardest in everything that you do. And do you know what is more important than success? It's that you make sure you gave your full potential, because that is what matters the most. Because at least you can say to yourself, well, I never gave up. When you're feeling down, I want you to take a minute and appreciate the people around you and think how lucky you are. And it may not be obvious at first, but just keep going, because you will get there in the end. Just remember that the only time you fail in life is when you fall down and you stay down. But the thing that matters the most is not that you fell, it's about how you get back up again. I want you to believe in yourself, because it is okay to make mistakes in life, because everybody does, and that's normal. But what matters is that you have to learn from your mistakes, because that is how you will grow. And it is acceptable to get down sometimes, because everybody does. But you have to think, do I want to stay in the same spot I'm in now? Do I want to stay the same person? And if not, you need to think, how are you going to change that? And how will I overcome this? And just remember to never, ever give up, because that is how that's what's not acceptable. You just need to believe in yourself, because that is how you get through the hardest times in your life. I hope I can make a difference to the person you are. Thank you so much for listening.